Alright tubes, I'm working on a little project here. I actually started it last night, so I'm kind of in the middle of it right now. But I started it last night at about 10:30, so it's dark outside and you guys wouldn't have been able to see anything anyway. So this will actually save you some time and make the video a little shorter. So what I'm doing here is I got this Viair compressor that you guys saw me rebuild a couple days ago. And the next step is to mount it in my truck, because that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be for an onboard air setup. And I had debated a couple places I could put it at. I was thinking about mounting it under the bed or maybe under the hood. But I decided that inside the cab would actually be the best option, because then you don't have to worry about moisture or dirt or too much heat or anything like that. So the first thing we got to figure out is where to bring the wires and the air lines in. So let me show you what we got. I wanted to have the air line come into the truck pretty close to the back, because that's where my compressor is going to be mounted. So if you go towards the back of the truck on the passenger side, you find two drain plugs pretty close to each other. And the first one you got is that one right there. And I'll show you why I didn't use that one in a minute. And the other one you got, it's a little bit farther up. It's kind of right above the frame right here. And that's the one I actually ended up using. So all I did was I pulled it out, and obviously this is a work in progress. We're going to put a grommet in there, but looking underneath the truck, it's just right in front of that cross member there. You should be able to find them. It's not too difficult to figure out where they're at. Let's go back up upstairs and I'll show you what's going on. The one I was showing you that was farther back is actually underneath this hump right here. There's actually like a hollow area in there. So what we would have had to have done was pop this out here, which wasn't a problem. But upon closer inspection, there's actually like a support or a brace in there. I couldn't really tell what it was. But either way, it was in the way, so we wouldn't have been able to get an air line up through there. My next concern after figuring out where to mount the wires was where I was actually going to put the compressor. And what I decided on was, rather than putting it underneath a seat where it's going to vibrate and make a lot of noise, I was actually going to hide it back behind where the jack used to be. If you're familiar with Rangers, you know this is where the jack goes. So what I did was I took the jack out. I'll just stick that under the seat or something. And I modified the mounting plate a little bit. This is what the jack used to be hooked to. It had a bunch of little clips and stuff in there. So I took all the clips out and I popped out a couple tabs that were on it. If you look right below the compressor, right below the cylinder, you can see a space where the tab is broken off. And also right under the R, I broke a tab off there. So I got them out of my way. And then after that, I welded some studs on here. I just took some bolts and cut the heads off. And we're good to go now, because this thing fits perfectly in here. You can slide that back there, and that'll get bolted down just like it used to. And then my wires and my hose are in the way right now. But what I would do is I'll take this cover here, and I'll put that over top, and you won't even see this thing. It's going to be totally hidden, and hopefully a little bit quieter back there too. Alright, now back to wiring. I went and printed out this handy dandy wiring diagram from Viair, and this will give you an idea of how the setup's supposed to work. Obviously it's not going to be exactly oriented like this, but this is the basic idea. So you got your two wires coming from the compressor. Your black wire is your negative. That goes right to ground. That's going to go to the chassis. And then your red wire, the power, that's going to go through a relay. Okay? Coming out on the other side of the switch on the relay is just going to go through a fuse and straight to your battery, because this is going to draw a lot of current. You definitely don't want to try and run this off a cigarette lighter or something. That wouldn't be good. And then on the coil side of the relay, one side goes to ground, and the other side goes through your pressure switch to a keyed power source. What that means is this will only run when the key's on. I think I'll also put a switch in there so I can turn it off when I don't want to run it. And to give you an idea of how this works, is you've got a normally closed pressure switch and a normally open relay. So assuming your pressure is below 90 psi, this power switch is going to be closed. Okay, that's going to mean your relay is energized, the coil is energized, and your relay is closed. That's going to keep the compressor running until you reach 120 psi, which will mean the switch will open, also causing the relay to open. Once you're at that point, you drain back down to 90 psi, and then it's the same thing over again. And it'll keep running like that until your battery goes dead or the compressor burns up. I've started working on my wiring, so I'll show you what I have so far. What I did was I mounted our relay right to the side of the compressor. It seemed to be the most convenient place to put it. So that's just an AutoZone relay. It's good for 40 amps, or at least it says it is. And what we have is we've got our power going to the compressor. That comes from, what is it? I think it's pin 87 from the relay. So that's going to the compressor, and then we have our ground coming from the compressor, and we also have the ground side of the coil, which I believe is 85. That's I have a smaller gauge wire hooked to that, but these are both joined together. They terminate at this connector here. Sorry, we're having a little trouble with the focus, but they terminate there, and that's going to go right to my chassis. So that's all I have for now. Not sure if I'm going to make a new video after this or what, because this might be kind of long, so I might make 2 parts. But either way, we're out of parts now. I got to go to the store, so we're going to say goodbye for now. We'll see you, tubes.